Before I begin, may I request you all to come on a bit more closer to the minbar, inshallah, so that we have some enough room in the back for brothers who come in later. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. In remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam, his children, Awlad al-Husayn and Ashab al-Husayn, his companions, and also to remember those who were with us till last year, last Muharram, and they're no longer with us. And inshallah, they're commemorating Muharram near Abu Abdullah himself. And to bless the souls of all marhumin, mu'mineen, mu'minat, rahimallahu man qara al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل نعم المولى ونعم النصير أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين الهداة المهديين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا واللعنة الدائمة على أعدائهم أجمعين من يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. To offer our condolences first and foremost to the Imam of our time, to the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, to Rasulullah, to Imam Amirul Mu'mineen, to Lady Fatima, to Zahra, to the Ahlul Bayt. Let's recite the dua that will hasten the reappearance of the one who will inshallah come and avenge eventually the martyrs of Karbala. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا يا رب الحسين بحق الحسين اشف صدر الحسين بظهور الحجة صلوا على محمد وآل محمد My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is indeed the first few hours of the beginning of the Islamic New Year. And indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us immensely by allowing us to begin our new Islamic year in the presence of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. What better way to begin our new year than being in the majlis of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. And not only today, not only on the first day, but for the first 10 days and nights, and also the first 2 months, if we continue commemorating Imam Hussain for the first 2 months of the Islamic calendar, what better barakah can we expect to achieve as we start this new year? If we look at the concept of a new year, usually we look at it and we measure it in the form of, if it's a solar calendar, the movement of the earth around the sun. But if we look at the lunar calendar, we measure it by the movement of the moon around the earth. And in this way, the Islamic calendar consists of 12, one after the other, revolutions of the moon around the earth, correct? Here we are at the beginning of a new Islamic year, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us by giving us the culture of Muharram, the culture of Azah, the culture of remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. It's very important that we, at the very beginning, at the very juncture of this month, realize the significance of this event, right? Imam Hussain alayhi salam is not only somebody who revived humanity and revived Islam, but even today his message revives me and you, revives humanity. It's not only a one-off revival that he achieved. It's not a one-off revival of humanity and Islam. My personal Islam today is in need of the message of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn for me to be alive in the message of Islam. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam's remembrance is what will enliven and rekindle the spark that will keep me going for the rest of the year and inshallah year after year. Brothers and sisters, the culture of these first 10 nights is also very important for us to keep in our minds. We look at the seerah of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhimus salam, and we find a hadith that Imam al-Rida alayhi salam narrates for us. And Imam al-Rida alayhi salam tells us something very important in this hadith and says, the Shia of the Ahl al-Bayt, that the general principle of a Shia of the Ahl al-Bayt is that Shi'atuna khuliqu min fadili tinatina. Our Shia have been created from the leftover clay. Obviously it has a metaphorical meaning, that if we consider ourselves to be the Shia of the Ahl al-Bayt, we would be in sync with the Ahl al-Bayt alayhimus salam. Yafrahuna li farahina, they celebrate when it is a moment of celebration for us. Wa yahzununa li huznina, and they commemorate and mourn when it is a time of mourning for us. Imam al-Rida alayhi salam tells us, Kana Abi alayhi salam, my father, Imam al-Kadhim alayhi salam, إِذَا دَخَلَ شَهْرُ مُحَرَّمْ, when the month of Muharram would begin, لَا يُرَى ضَاحِكًا, he would not be seen laughing, giggling openly and having fun. وَكَانَتِ الْكَابَةُ تَغْلِبُ عَلَيْهِ, and sadness would take over him. حَتَّى تَمْضِي عَشْرَةَ أَيَّامٍ, till the time 10 days would pass. فَإِذَا كَانَ يَوْمُ الْعَاشِرِ كَانَ ذَلِكَ يَوْمُ مُصِيبَتِهِ وَحُزْنِهِ وَبُكَائِهِ. And when it would be the 10th day, meaning the day of Ashura, it would be a day of his mourning, his sadness, and his crying. As Shia, these 10 days especially, and as parents especially, as we are nurturing our children and have this responsibility, we need to nurture this culture of 10 days at least 10 days. That's the very minimum of being a Shia. If we can take it all the way to Arba'in, Nurun ala Nur, well and good. But at least the first 10 days should be different from the other days. Not only we're coming to the center and attending majlis, whether here or any other center, wherever the message of Abu Abdullah is mentioned. Obviously, online majalis have become fashionable now as well. They're in style. People prefer listening online as well. But the spiritual feeling of the remembrance of Abu Abdullah is achieved more so in a social gathering. Because it is a moment for us to not only remind ourselves of the mission of Abu Abdullah, but console each other as well. We can't console each other online. On the 10th day, one of the a'mal is to say, أَعْظَمَ اللَّهُ أُجُورَنَا وَأُجُورَكُمْ بِمُصَابِنَا بِعَبْدِ عَبْدِ اللَّهِ الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. May Allah magnify my reward and your reward, our reward for the mourning of Abu Abdullah. And what else do we say while consoling? We say, وَجَعَلَنَا وَإِيَّاكُم مِّنَ الطَّالِبِينَ لِثَارِهِ مَعَ وَلِيِّهِ. And may Allah make us from those who will eventually avenge the blood of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn with his wali. Who is the wali? Imam al-Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala faraj. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So indeed, this whole social gathering and social mourning of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn is an important part of the culture of the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. My dear brothers and sisters, the overall theme has been mentioned, and insha'Allah ta'ala we together are in the khidmah and service of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn, and Allah has given us the tawfiq to be here, and may Allah not take this tawfiq away from us till the last moment of our lives to be in the service of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. In these discussions that are to follow today and in the next 10 nights to come, insha'Allah, we are hoping to look at the worldview that is Husseini. What is a Husseini worldview? What does it take to make me a true Husseini? I have been, alhamdulillah, from childhood, I've been brought up with the name of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. And a big thank you, obviously to Allah and the Ahlul Bayt, but also to my parents, to our parents. And inshallah, may Allah give them the best of rewards, and to the general community for nurturing and keeping this culture of Muharram and Ahlul Bayt, especially Imam al-Hussain, going. There are certain communities where it is going away. This culture of Muharram is unfortunate, and this is a yardstick, brothers and sisters, for a healthy community, for a healthy Shia community. If the dhikr and remembrance of Abu Abdullah is there, there's hope with the community. And if the dhikr and remembrance of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn is becoming fizzled out, it's going away, it's not being given that much importance, then one has to reconsider the options for the community. Because it is what it is. Abu Abdullah is the one whose message revives the hearts. As we are in this discussion, inshallah, we will look at where are we and what will it take for me and us to, at the individual level, at the family level, and at the social level, move our paradigms and shift them towards a Husseini worldview. And inshallah, in today's discussion, I would like to point out some areas where we will touch on in the next few lectures to come, inshallah. But first and foremost, my question to myself and to all of us is, who is Abu Abdullah al-Husayn? Who is Hussein? Who is this person that his words and actions, his worldview is what we're trying to implement? 3 points, inshallah, I will mention, then we will move on. The very first and foremost point that I would like to mention here about Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam is he is the key to the door of divine love and mercy. You want to have the flow of Allah's love towards you, love Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam. Proof? Imam, as mentioned by Rasulullah himself. Rasulullah says, أَحَبَّ اللَّهُ مَنْ أَحَبَّ حُسَيْنًا. Allah loves the one who loves al-Husayn. Just loving al-Husayn will open the doors of Allah's love and mercy towards us. Subhanallah. Just loving Imam al-Husayn. That's the very first step, right? And we'll talk about why should we love Imam al-Husayn, right? But the first and foremost, he is the source of the divine love, divine mercy. Second point, who is Imam al-Husayn? Who is Husayn? Obviously, since we're all accepting of the message of Imam al-Husayn, it's easier for me to bring from the Quran and from the Ahadith. Had it been a non-Muslim audience, there is so much in Imam Hussain for me to mention, for us to mention and to share. And inshallah, in the procession, our volunteers will also share this with those who are non-Muslim, the power of Imam Husain's message for humanity. What can humanity take away from Imam Hussain alayhi salam? But the second point here is, for us, Imam al-Hussein is our connection to Rasulullah. Rasulullah says, Husaynun minni wa ana min al-Hussein. Right? Hussein is from me and I am from al-Hussein. What does it mean? Is it just a statement that shows Rasulullah's affection for Imam al-Hussein, or is there something deeper in this? What do you think? Is it just a grandfather who is so much in love with his grandson, showing his affection and saying, Hussein is dear to me and I am dear to Hussein. Hussein is from me and I am from Hussein. Obviously, in the genealogy, Imam al-Hussein is from Rasulullah, right? But how does it make sense for Rasulullah to say that I am from Hussein? Well, the survival of the mission of Rasulullah is with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Brothers and sisters, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam is the perfection and the culmination of the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of humanity. Isn't he? All the messages that from Prophet Adam alayhi salam all the way to Prophet Isa and then Rasulullah, they brought forward the final and the most complete, the most holistic message that came to humanity. Is it not through Rasulullah? Is it not the Holy Quran? Is it not the Sharia that Islam has brought in? Now, if Rasulullah is that culmination and perfection, and Allah says, "Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun," we have indeed revealed the dhikr, we have sent it down, and we will protect it. Allah is saying, I will protect the message of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. How? We see that it occurs through the hands of none other than Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. By the blood of Imam al-Hussein and his sacrifice on the day of Ashura, on the plains of Karbala, he has vaccinated Islam from deviation. And I'm not exaggerating, my dear brothers and sisters. I'm not. This is not a hyperbole. It's not an exaggeration. Imam al-Hussein's message has always stood the test when it comes to protecting Islam from deviation. A relevant example to our times. When ISIS rose, Daesh, right? There was a movement within the Ummah. Khilafah is returning back. Khilafah, right? That was the whole mood, that somebody has declared himself to be the Khalifa, right? In Mosul, he rose the minbar, he went up the minbar and said, "Ala kitabillah wa sunnati nabiyyi," right? That I am the Khalifa and I will guide and lead the Muslim Ummah forward. Reality check. Is this Khilafah in line with the message of Abu Abdullah or not? And you will see very clearly, the moment you realize that this message, this Khilafah, this Daesh, this ISIS, I shy away from calling it an Islamic state because it is not, right? I would rather call it a non-Islamic state. And it is typically showing us, if we compare ISIS back to the times of Abu Abdullah, it fits the definition of Ali Abu Sufyan. It fits the definition of Banu Umayyah. It does. Had we not had the criterion laid down by Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam for all of humanity, for all of the Ummah to see, the Muslim Ummah would not have had a way to tell whether this Daesh stands the test, the litmus test of being Islamic or not. It was clear when Daesh said, we will attack Karbala, we will attack Imam al-Hussein's shrine, we will attack Arba'in walkers walking towards Karbala. There, as they say in Urdu, dood ka dood, pani ka pani. Right? Everything was crystal clear that this is not Islamic. Why? We compare it to the message of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Coming around to now this protection of the message that Abu Abdullah did. He protected Islam, and now, not only protected Islam, he gave us the definition of being not only a Muslim but a mu'min. Moving one step higher. Yeah? A mu'min is defined by having harara, heat, warmth in their heart. For whom? For Rasulullah, for Imam Ali, for Lady Fatima, for Imam al-Hassan, for Imam al-Hussain, for all of the A'imma. As the hadith says, Inna lil Husayn hararatan fi qulubil Muslimin? No, mu'mineen. La tabrudu abada. For Husayn, indeed, there is a warmth, a heat in the hearts of the Muslim, no, mu'mineen, that will never subside. If in our hearts we feel a warmth, a heat, a sense of belonging, a sense of movement, a sense of enthusiasm, a push within ourselves, whenever we hear the name of Abu Abdullah, we are shaken to our core. Alhamdulillah, we have a sense, a bit of iman in ourselves. Because it's the hadith of Rasulullah that says, Inna lil Husayn hararatan fi qulubil mu'mineen. And this harara will never subside. A mu'min is not somebody who feels the heat of Abu Abdullah's love only in the 10 days. No. Allah, the Holy Prophet, the Ahlul Bayt have trained us every Thursday night. Remember Abu Abdullah, rekindle the heat. Recite Ziyarat Waris. Why Thursday night today? Alhamdulillah, it's not a coincidence, it's planned. Allah has planned to start Muharram this year with Thursday night. Thursday night is traditionally when we remember Abu Abdullah al-Husayn, and today, double the remembrance. Abu Abdullah, he is who will keep our faith intact and give us the light of being a mu'min. My dear brothers and sisters, it's very important that we take this opportunity seriously. A whole year has passed and a new year has started. And as we stand at this threshold using the message of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam to enliven ourselves, we look at how can we change ourselves. We need to change. We need to make ourselves more Husseini. And the very first thing that I would like to point out in our discussion, that inshallah will be discussed in a bit more detail, the plan is today I will bring only 2 sections of the saying of Abu Abdullah, and we will discuss that. And we will I will try my best to bring in a hadith only from Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Because we are wanting to take Islam through the words of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam. Right? And we would like to focus our attention, because the Hussaini worldview is the pure Islamic worldview. There's nothing separate. It's not 2 different things and 2 distinct things. It's one and the same thing. But when we look at Imam al-Husayn's worldview, one very clear example or one very clear trait of the Hussaini worldview is that it is based on haqq. It is based on truth. It's based on reality. And as we are reviewing our year in the past and planning ahead for the next year, we need to first and foremost think Hussaini. To become Hussaini, we need to first start thinking Hussaini. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam, the very first and foremost thing that he mentions to his brother Muhammad al-Hanafiya in his last will, his wasiyah, as he's leaving Medina, is his declaration of faith, where he testifies, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. We recite this testament of faith usually. Alhamdulillah, we recite this in salah every day. Right? Tashahhud is all about reciting Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. We recite this. My dear brothers and sisters, the very basic, and I would like to open this up inshallah tomorrow a bit more. When we talk about religion, when we talk about faith, when we talk about spirituality, sometimes it is faced with suspicion. Deep within ourselves, we are suspicious. Is this really making sense? Religion? Some people are cynical about religion, even from within religious groupings. Yeah? Some people think that spirituality is something that is based in fantasy. God forbid. Yeah? How does it connect to the testament of faith? Well, my dear brothers and sisters, the very basis of our faith, unlike other faiths, is that we do not believe at all in blind faith. At all. Where it comes, discussion of taqleed and following somebody, it's only in the furu'ud din. It's only in the acts where we need to derive them from the Islamic sources, where we may not have the ability. But at the basic core belief level, we cannot follow somebody saying, oh, my dad is Muslim or my mother is Muslim. Oh, I am Muslim because I come from a Muslim family. Well, that defines your culture maybe, but does not define your religious identity. Because you need to be religious based on your intellect. This is what defines. And when it comes to the intellect does not subsist and suffice on fantasy. I want to believe, and I want to believe what is right. And I want to believe what is the truth. And I want to believe in something that is for real. I don't want to believe in things that are fictional. I don't want to believe in something that does not exist in reality. That's fantasy. In tomorrow's discussion, we will talk a bit more about how our religion is based on reality. That's the topic for tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, inshallah, we will talk a bit more about our identity as human beings. And how does Imam Hussein's message show us what a true human being has in terms of potential? We, a lot of times, shortchange ourselves. We set the bar too low for ourselves. And we don't push ourselves to reach higher. And eventually, we're from the khasirin, from the losers. Why? Because when time comes for us to pass away from this world, and we realize we had all this opportunity in life, we wasted it. The time that we had in this world, we wasted it. Why? Because we did not realize what our potential was. Inshallah, in one of the discussions, we'll talk about what is true human potential. And how does Imam al-Hussein show us the true human potential? On the plains of Karbala, Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura, as the historians say, and this historian is from the opposite camp, he says, as the day was passing and the difficulties of Imam al-Hussein were increasing, first he loses his companions, and then he loses his extended family, and then he loses from his close companions, the close family members, and then his sons, obviously. He says the nur on the face of Abu Abdullah was growing brighter and brighter. What is this nur? Why don't we see it in our day and age? How can I attain this nur? What makes me become such that I can become of a spiritual nature higher and higher? Imam al-Hussein shows us on the plains of Karbala. Not only on the plains of Karbala, but throughout his life. Brothers and sisters, another aspect of being Husaini, another aspect of making our worldview Husaini, is to move our thinking into practice now. It's not only enough to think Husaini. It's rather useless. What's the use if we just repeat like a parrot the words of Imam al-Hussein and say, I believe in death is better than a life full of disgrace? That's the words of Imam al-Hussein. But if it's just words from my mouth and not action, what use is this for me in my life. I'm not becoming Husseini, I'm just thinking Husseini maybe. But indeed, thinking in this way is the first step towards becoming like Imam al-Hussein, like a person who stands for human dignity, who stands for true human rights, the highest form of human rights, the elevated sense of being a human. Inshallah, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the tawfiq to become more and more Husseini by first thinking Husseini, and inshallah practicing the lifestyle of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam with the barakah of a salawat on Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, I inshallah hope to within the discussions bring in some general fiqhi ahkam as well in the discussions that we have. And today I would like to mention one fiqhi mas'ala as we go forward. As we're talking about thinking Husseini and becoming Husseini, we need to keep in mind that the laws of Islam that are there as guidelines for us to move forward towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to become closer and closer and gain His proximity, these ahkam need to be taken seriously as well. And one of the first ahkam that I would like to mention today in our discussion is the need to learn ahkam. It is wajib according to the maraja, and there is no difference of opinion here in the maraja, that if a person knows or even thinks that they might, because of not knowing certain masail or certain ahkam or certain rulings, will fall into committing something haram, then it is wajib upon them to learn the masail, the rulings. Now if a person, obviously all of us live our lives, the rules of tahara, salat, fasting, those who go to hajj, inshallah for them, the rules of hajj, the rules of khums and so on, these are general, applicable to everybody. But those who are in business, they need to keep an eye out on the ahkam of business as well, right? Those who are in renting or leasing things out, we need to keep an eye out on the ahkam and rulings of lease as well. Those who are in any other aspect of life, for whom these masail are oft repeating, they occur regularly, it is wajib upon them to know and have a sense of what Allah's expectations are in that specific area. And inshallah, I urge you and I request you to share some of these areas that you would like me to cover. Inshallah, in the first few days we'll cover some of the masail of tahara and salah, but also if there are certain areas that you personally feel is an area you would like to hear more about or know more about, please feel free to share. In the same light, I would like to also mention that when we look at the ahkam, and I was having this beautiful discussion with a brother just this morning, we sometimes take the ahkam to be like the red lines that are very strict. And unfortunately, that's a misconception. The ahkam of Islam, if you compare the ahkam of Islam to other religions as well, those who have a solid legal basis, you will find the ahkam of Islam are very easy to follow if you're for it, inshallah. Now, the hadith says, the Sharia of Islam is samha, is sahla, is easy to practice. And sometimes we don't realize that there is so much flexibility in religion, rather we make religion difficult on ourselves. And therefore it's very important for us and for families and for parents especially to share the knowledge of the rulings of Islam with their kids, especially living in this society. One area that often people have difficulty with is tahara. They sometimes take everything to be najis, and only if they realize that it is pak and tahir, they take it as tahir and they move forward. It's rather the opposite. Sharia says, consider everything to be pak unless and until you are 100% sure that it has become najis. How different is it from the view that Sharia is presenting Islam for us and how we are applying it on ourselves? Inshallah, we'll talk more about this and other masail as we move forward. But brothers and sisters, one last point and we move towards masail. The question that comes around is, why do we need to consider having a Husaini worldview? And I would like us to step back right now. Step back and look at not only religion with a bigger picture, but look at life, rather look at humanity, or rather look at human life on earth with a bigger picture. If we look at the message of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and we recite Ziyarat Warith all the time, what does Warith mean? The inheritor, right? We call Imam Hussain, Assalamu alayka ya Waritha Adama Safwatillah, the Warith Nuhin Nabiyillah, Warith Ibrahim Khalilillah. We keep on mentioning the names of the different prophets. What are we implying here? We're implying that Imam Hussain, you are the inheritor of the prophets of Allah, the message of the prophets of Allah. That divine system of guidance that was put in place even before a non-prophet human being entered and stepped foot on this earth, there was a prophet of Allah there. Till the end of humanity, the system of guidance will continue. At first in the form of nubuwah, and then in the form of imamah. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam is now the inheritor of the message of all of the prophets of Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, Imam al-Husayn's message is indeed that message that will lead humanity till the last guide as well. Question: how do we make sense of this? My dear brothers and sisters, simple as said. Imam al-Husayn stands for those universal values that all of the prophets of Allah preached. He stands for all of those human values that all humans agree to be values. All human beings, even if they don't have a faith. They will all agree justice is something that is good, even if they may not believe in Allah or God. Imam al-Hussain stood for those universal values, and the ones from the beginning of humanity who have stood for those values are the prophets of Allah. Throughout, the Quran talks about it. You look at Prophet Shu'aib, Prophet Nuh, Prophet Ibrahim, all of these prophets of Allah, apart from their theological and ideological preaching, they would preach the people towards social justice. Nabi Shu'aib would take issue with the people of his time because they would shortchange people when they would sell things to them. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ وَلَا تَعْثَوْا فِي الْأَرْضِ مُفْسِدِينَ. Do not spread corruption on earth. What does Imam al-Hussain say when he leaves Medina? He says, إِنِّي لَمْ أَخْرُجْ أَشِرًا وَلَا بَطِرًا وَلَا مُفْسِدًا وَلَا ظَالِمًا. I have not left Medina as a person who wishes to spread corruption. Anti-corruption. The biggest, or one of the biggest issues that humanity today faces is the issue of corruption. So much so that today governments in the world are paralyzed because of corruption. Is this only a religious value? No. It's a universal human value, and Imam al-Hussain stood for that. Continuing that path, why does the hadith say that Imam al-Mahdi, when he reappears, يَمْلَأُ الْأَرْضَ عَدْلًا وَقِسْطًا بَعْدَمَا مُلِّئَ ظُلْمًا وَجَوْرًا. He will fill the earth with justice and equity after it was filled with oppression and injustice. Why does the hadith not say that Imam will come and spread and fill the earth with Islam and Iman? My question to you. Why? Typically, Imam is the Imam and leader of all Muslims, right? Nay, rather he is the Imam of all of humanity. Imam al-Mahdi and all of the Imams, just like Rasulullah, their message is universal. They are the Imams and leaders of all of humanity. And the one single thing that will create the basis for the acceptance of spirituality and religion is the presence of justice. In today's world, if we have justice, Islam will spread like wildfire. It will. And we need to realize that Islam itself is based on justice. That's the root of al-Islam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Brothers and sisters, as time is also running short, and indeed we need to remember the ashab and the companions of Imam Hussain alayhi salam today. Keeping it short today, inshallah, but I would like us to step back and look at the whole spectrum and the whole movement that started from the time of the prophets of Allah, which was solidified in the movement of Imam al-Hussein, and this movement is continuing all the way till the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi. Till the time that Imam al-Mahdi, when he reappears, the way that he will introduce himself to all of humanity when he stands by the door of the Kaaba, how will he introduce himself to all of humanity? As the hadith says, that when Imam will reappear by the door of the Kaaba, and it's interestingly enough, it will either be the day of Ashura or the day after it, according to some narrations. Why the day of Ashura? Why not some other day? Why not the day of Mab'ath, Bi'tha? Why not the day of Ghadir? Possible. But the day of Ashura has been mentioned. There's a deep connection between Imam al-Mahdi's movement and the movement of Imam al-Hussein. But Imam al-Mahdi will not call out to the people of the world and say, Ya ayyuhal alam, I am the son of Muhammad Rasulullah. No, he will not say that. He will not say, I am the son of Ali Amirul Mu'mineen. But he will introduce himself as saying, Inna jaddi al-Husayn qad qataluhu atshana. My grandfather Hussein was the one who was killed in a state that he was thirsty. This is how Imam al-Mahdi will introduce himself to the world. Ayatollah Bahjat has a very important point here. He mentions that this hadith shows that by the time that Imam reappears, the whole world would know who Imam al-Hussein is. Such that when people know Imam al-Hussein and Imam Mahdi comes and introduces himself as the grandson of Imam al-Hussein, people will immediately make the connection and come and follow him. What is our responsibility, my dear brothers and sisters? To introduce Imam al-Hussein to the world. If we make this a point in our lives, that if we are living a Husseini worldview, we're not only thinking but acting Husseini in a way that anybody sees us and says, yes, this person is Husseini. We are, in effect, preparing ourselves for the reappearance of Imam al-Mahdi. We are. And these 10 days is the prime time to prepare ourselves. Who knows, this Muharram, this 10th of Muharram, this Ashura, maybe the day Imam reappears. Are we ready for the Imam? This is a reminder and a wake-up call for ourselves. But indeed, there were people like us who were calling out to Imam al-Hussein. Just like how we call out to Imam al-Mahdi, they wrote, Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal, O Mawla, come towards us. And they sent letters upon letters, to that extent that history tells us 12,000 letters went to Imam al-Hussein when he was in Mecca from the people of Kufa. With these words, Al-Ajal, Al-Ajal. We recite Dua al-Ahad today, right? Al-Ajal, we recite. Ya Mawla, Ya Sahib Zaman, please come soon. I hope we're not in the same boat as the people of Kufa. That when Imam al-Hussein indeed came towards the people of Kufa, they betrayed him. They first betrayed his representative, Muslim ibn Aqil. Today, Imam al-Mahdi's representatives, the Maraji, if they are betrayed, it's just like us being like the people of Kufa betraying Muslim ibn Aqil. It's no short of that, my dear brothers and sisters. Today, we need to remind ourselves that if we are averse from the character of the people of Kufa, hopefully not. We are not embodying those same traits within ourselves. as people who betrayed the Imam of their time. Brothers and sisters, Imam Hussain alayhi salam leaves Mecca on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. He converts his intention of Hajj into the intention of Umrah, and he realizes the main reason behind this being is Imam realizes that there are assassins within Mecca from Yazid who are wanting to martyr him and assassinate him and violate the sanctity of the city of Mecca, of the Masjid al-Haram and the holy sanctuary that Allah has made a place of peace. Imam al-Hussein sees the need to maintain the sanctity of Mecca, and he exits from the city and he starts heading towards Kufa. And as he leaves Kufa on the 9th, there's a different scene in Kufa, where Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam had sent Muslim ibn Aqil in the middle of the month of Ramadan. When he enters 3rd of Sha'aban to the city of Mecca, he keeps getting letters from the people of Kufa saying, "We've heard that Muawiyah has died. We don't want to swear allegiance to Yazid. We are ready." To some extent, historians say 16,000 letters went to Imam al-Hussein, saying 100,000 men with swords are ready to defend you, O Imam. Come towards us. And Imam, assessing the situation, taking advice from some people who were worthy, he sends Muslim ibn Aqil with a letter towards the people of Kufa saying, "Brother, check the situation and report back to me." Muslim ibn Aqil is just like Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas for Imam al-Hussein. Even if you recite the ziyarah of Muslim ibn Aqil, it is very similar to the ziyarah of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam. Imam sends his trusted companion, his brother-in-law, Muslim ibn Aqil, towards Kufa. Muslim arrives in Kufa on the 6th or so of Shawwal. And when he sees that people have come in hordes to swear allegiance to him, he writes very enthusiastically to the Imam, "Oh Imam, these people are ready. Come soon." Imam, when he receives that letter, and he receives a couple of letters from the people of Kufa associated with it, Imam starts his journey towards Kufa. But as he leaves Mecca coming towards Kufa, when he reaches a point, according to some historians, Zabala, Imam receives the message. What is that message? One of the narrators says, Farazda comes to the Imam and says, "Oh Mawla," when Imam asks him, "What's news from Kufa?" he says, "Mawla, their hearts are with you and their swords are against you." What happened in Kufa? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam had sent Muslim ibn Aqil to Kufa. Muslim ibn Aqil, when he sees that the situation is ready, he not only informs Imam to come towards Kufa, but he prepares the people to stand ground and take over the governorship of Kufa. As Yazid and the companions and supporters of Banu Umayyah realize in Kufa that if they were to not act immediately, the power of Kufa would go away from their hands, they ask Yazid to send somebody firm to take over the governorship of Kufa. Yazid immediately writes a letter to Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, who is stationed in Basra, to come towards Kufa and take control of the matter. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad is somebody who is known, who is notorious for his hard-heartedness. He leaves right away from Basra, arrives in Kufa in a veil. He covers his face so that people might think that Imam al-Hussein is entering the city of Kufa. He enters the city of Kufa, he reaches the Dar al-Imara, enters the Dar al-Imara, the governor house, and he takes over. He lays down a curfew in the city of Kufa. When Muslim ibn Aqil alayhi salam realizes this, and immediately Ibn Ziyad also orders for Hani ibn Urwa to be arrested and brought towards him. Hani ibn Urwa, a trusted companion of Muslim ibn Aqil, is actually hurt so badly by Ibn Ziyad that according to narrations, the flesh of his face starts to drip on his clothes. Hani ibn Urwa is one of those close companions of Muslim and supporters that when Hani goes in, his tribesmen come outside the Dar al-Imara to demand his release. When Ibn Ziyad realizes that if he were to kill Hani right away, there would be a revolt in Kufa, he holds back on killing Hani ibn Urwa. But at the same time, Muslim ibn Aqil alayhi salam sees that slowly and gradually, with the tactics that Ibn Ziyad has used, on one hand he is threatening the tribal leader, saying any tribal leader whose tribe members end up supporting Muslim ibn Aqil will be killed. He threatens them. For some who will not go down the way of threats and submit to threats, he uses the way of bribing them. He says, I will pay you these many thousand dinars. Come towards me and leave Muslim ibn Aqil. Some go down this way. And for some, it's simply arrest and torture and death. And as the support base of Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil is taken away, Imam sees his supporters leave him. Those who were just supporters by name, but those who were true supporters start to make their way out of Kufa. Habib ibn Mudahir al-Asadi, Qais ibn Musahhar al-Saydawi, and many other companions of Imam al-Hussain who had truly sworn allegiance to Muslim ibn Aqil, when they see that Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil is being deserted, and they see that if they were to stay any longer in Kufa, they would be arrested and they would not have a chance to join Imam al-Hussain, they start to secretly leave Kufa and join Imam al-Hussain's caravan as it's making its way towards Kufa. Eventually, Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil comes to the Masjid of Kufa on one evening to pray Salat al-Maghrib. When he enters and leads Salat, 30 people are praying behind him. Salat al-Maghrib ends and he leaves the Masjid, and as he's walking towards the neighborhoods of the Shia, or the so-called Shia of the Ahl al-Bayt, one by one, these 30 people start to move out and away from the support of Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil. Time comes that Muslim ibn Aqil is left with no supporter and no place, no refuge to go and seek safety in the city of Kufa. He comes upon a door where he sees an old lady cleaning her house and waiting outside by the door for her son Bilal. He stops there. He's very thirsty. He asks the lady, Taw'a, can I have some water, please? And she feeds him some water. And when he stands there, she looks at him and says, oh, Shaykh, do you not have a place to go? Go, the situation in the city is not safe. Go, your wife and kids must be waiting for you. Go, it's not safe to stand by my door. He looks at her and he says, I have no place to go. I am Muslim ibn Aqil, the family of Rasulullah. When she hears the name of Muslim ibn Aqil, she says, oh Mawla, had I known, I would have taken you in. Please come in. She takes the other Muslim and she places him and serves him and makes him her guest. And Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil resides in her house for the night. When her son Bilal comes in, and this Bilal is a friend of Muhammad ibn Ash'ath, who is a close companion of Ibn Ziyad. When he realizes that somebody is in the house and he sees that his mom is constantly going in and out of the room, serving, taking things in, and at times even going there and crying out loud, he asks his mom, why were you going in there? Why were you crying in there? And he is told, after taking an oath from her, that he will not act against that person. He promises and swears an oath. Eventually the mother spells out the secret that it is none other than Muslim ibn Aqil who is residing in the house. He eventually, in the morning when the announcement is made by the announcers that anybody housing Muslim ibn Aqil in their house will be killed, he immediately goes and tells his friend Muhammad ibn Ash'ath that I have Muslim ibn Aqil in my house and my mom has been giving him refuge. Immediately the news spreads to Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad immediately orders a whole army to come towards the house of Taw'a to retrieve Muslim ibn Aqil from the house. Here Muslim ibn Aqil alayhi salam is a man of principle, is a chivalrous character, is a brave, strong lion of Allah. He comes out of the house and he fights valiantly. One person with one sword fighting a whole army. The army is calling out for reinforcements. Ibn Ziyad is baffled. What is this? Are you fighting an army that you need reinforcements? They say, no, we're fighting the lion of Allah. We're fighting a lion from the Banu Hashim. How can we defeat him? They eventually surround him. According to some reports, they dig a hole and they try to, out of his ghafla, they make him fall into a trap and they take him towards Ibn Ziyad. When they take him to Ibn Ziyad, Muslim ibn Aqil is bruised. His lip has been hit by a sword that blood is now pouring from his lips. His body is all bruised. His body is all tired. He is now in a state that he cannot move his body too much himself. He is taken towards Ibn Ziyad in the Darul Imara. Ibn Ziyad says, if you have any wasiyah and any last will, say it now. And he says it to Umar ibn Sa'ad, who is from the same tribe. Eventually, Ibn Ziyad orders for Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil to be taken to the top, to the roof of Dar al-Imara and be martyred. The Jallad takes him, the killer takes him all the way up to the roof. At this moment, we see Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. When he reaches the rooftop, the historians say that he starts saying Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, and he starts to cry. And they say, why are you crying now, Muslim ibn Aqil? He says, I don't cry for myself. Ma bakaytu li nafsi abki lil Husayn wa Husayn. I am crying for Husayn and his family. Why are you crying, Muslim ibn Aqil? I am crying because I asked them to come towards Kufa, and the situation of Kufa now is such that it is not worth Muslim ibn Aqil sending that letter. It is not worth Husayn coming towards Kufa. When he is standing on the roof of Dar al-Imara, the killer strikes his sword on his neck. He severs the head from the body. Hazrat Muslim ibn Aqil's head flies down to the ground, and then his body is also thrown to the ground. Ibn Ziyad in his hard-heartedness says, take the head with the head of Hani, send it to Yazid, and take the body of the two and make it go in the streets and the bazaars of Kufa, so that people realize that they should not do any single thing that will go against the commands of Yazid. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. The message of Muslim ibn Aqil's martyrdom reaches Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain, when he hears this message, according to historians, he says the words of the Holy Quran, رِجَالٌ صَدَقُوا مَا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ وَمَا بَدَّلُوا تَبْدِيلًا. Imam says there are people who have firmly attested to their oath to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are some who have gone forth in their path, and there are some who are still waiting, meaning himself that he's waiting for martyrdom and shahada. He sends the message, but before he sends the message to his sister Ruqayya, the wife of Muslim ibn Aqil, about the martyrdom of her husband, he calls his daughter, the daughter of Muslim ibn Aqil. He makes her sit on his lap. He tries to make her feel at home. He puts his hand on her head. He puts earrings in her ears. The young lady, the young princess says, "Oh Mawla, you're treating me as if I'm an orphan." Imam al-Hussein says, "No, I am your father from now on." And Bibi Sakina, Lady Bibi Ruqayya is standing there. She's looking at the scene, and we go flash forward to the day of Ashura, the Sham Ghariba, when she is now expecting that her father has been martyred and she has been orphaned, that she will be treated with mercy. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the right of Aba Abdullah al-Husayn to hasten the reappearance of the Imam and to make us truly of Husseini character in our thought and our actions. Matam ya Husayn.